All right, guys. We're back. This episode, we're going to discuss Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. This is the 31st movie in the MCU, and the sequel to Ant-Man in 2015 and Ant-Man and the Wasp 2018. All right, so this one, once again, starring Paul Rudd, directed by Peyton Reed, once again, Evangeline Lilly, Jonathan Majors, Michelle Pfeiffer, Michael Douglas, and Kathryn Newton. Overall, the story is Scott and Hope and his daughter, and both of the Pyms. They all get trapped in the quantum realm. They get pulled in, and they basically have to deal with Kang, played by Jonathan Majors. Look, I thought it was pretty good. It feels very much like a Swiss Family Robinson sort of story, or Lost in Space, if you're kind of familiar with the newer version of that series. It feels very much like that. Things I really liked about it, I thought some of the CGI was really kind of fun and impressive, actually. Jonathan Majors was great as Kang. He is a force to be reckoned with, and it'll be interesting to see him in future stuff. Paul Rudd is doing, this sort of the same as he's done in all these other Ant-Man movies. And to that, I say a very good job, right? Like, he's just good in that role. He's sort of this concerned dad now. His daughter's growing up, and he's, kind of upset that he missed part of her life because of the blip. And then his daughter, played by Kathryn Newton, Cassie, is sort of the newest introduction to the team, right? She now has a suit, and she can, shrink and everything else. And so she's kind of fun as she's sort of learning the world as well. So overall, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fine.
The movie is solid. Since you insist on us scoring these movies, I think it's best for me to score these movies with a letter grade.
Okay.
And I think this is a B minus to a B.
Okay.
The story is, kind of simple. But it is fun. I had a fun time with it. But I wasn't blown away by it. So don't go in expecting to be like, oh my God. Like, no, this is just a solid, movie. My issue with this movie is that it's radically different from the other Ant-Man movies. So if you were going in expecting like a heist movie with like some corporate espionage and stuff, you're not getting that. Like Jay said, this is sci-fi through and through. And almost to the film's detriment. I don't think that's the proper word, but it feels like a movie with Ant-Man in it instead of an Ant-Man movie.
I can see that.
Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah, because
because
it's not like any of the other Ant-Man movies. Like, it feels
right.
Like you said, it's wildly different.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Not a lot going on, but there is basically Ant-Man and the Wasp and the rest of the team are kind of thrown into the middle of a conflict. And
right.
and the movie plays out from there. Look, everyone is on their game. Everyone is doing well. Paul Rudd is he feels like the Ant-Man character feels like this is the right place for him to be, taking into account everything that's happened in the previous 30 movies, right? Hope, Evangeline Lilly doesn't really have much to do.
No, she doesn't. That's actually a decent complaint that I think can be leveled against the film.
Yeah.
Considering her name is in the title.
Right. Right. But she does, she comes in when it's needed, but like, this is an Ant-Man movie. It always amazes me that that Marvel and Disney are able to convince high caliber actors to be in these silly movies,
right?
Because Michelle Pfeiffer and Michael Douglas are being Michelle Pfeiffer and Michael Douglas. Like they're just brilliant actors, saying some of the most nonsensical stuff ever.
Yes.
But you know what? They pull it off. Jonathan Majors, look, I mean, this guy is like the guy of the moment. He is he's a phenomenal actor. Even when he's in dull movies like The Last Black Man in San Francisco, or when he's in excellent movies, or when he's in movies that are just fine, like this one. He steals every scene he's in. Like that guy's got presence, and it's not just like a physical presence. Like that guy
he also has that.
Right, he has that too. But he has this like he plays. I enjoy the way he plays Kang, specifically because Kang is not super interesting to me. Now look, I haven't read a bunch of books with Kang in them, but I did read the books of that Doctor Doom run with him and Doctor Doom in it. And it's like, all right, I get it. But like people are saying like, oh, this is the best villain ever. And I think that's a little bit of recency bias.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Yeah, he's not the best villain ever, but he is captivating. Like his motivations are super simple, but he's really captivating. And he's legitimately scary. Like,
yeah, like you and I were talking about this like right after, because we just got out of the movies about 30 minutes ago, and we talked about it right after. And I said like his ability to sort of like when you watch the movie, notice this because there's a lot of sort of close-ups of him. Like he almost keeps tears right at the cusp of his eyes, so he always has this sort of like tragic look about him as he's saying the most diabolical, horrendous shit that they could think to write for him. And so you're like, oh, like maybe he's the victim, like he's a victim of these circumstances. Nah, he's not. He really isn't. You know, he's not. He's a horrendous human being, and everyone should be terrified of him. But he plays it in this way where you almost want to be like, well, maybe we should help him. And then it's like, and then 2 minutes later, you're like, no, don't ever let that guy out. Like this guy is a disaster for everyone. And yeah. I think that's going to play really well to see him show up throughout this phase. It's going to be a lot of fun, or this saga.
Yeah, he is a standout actor, and I'm legit very much looking forward to what he does throughout these next couple of years, not just in Marvel movies, but in movies in general. But yeah, look, my bottom line is this movie is fine. I would go see it. I'd give it like a B- to a B. I think I don't think it's as good as like Thor Ragnarok, but it's way better than Thor Love and Thunder. You know, I am on this. I have been publicly, I've said that the original Guardians of the Galaxy, when that movie was about to come out, when it was announced, I said that movie is just going to tank Marvel, right? Mm-hmm. People are just not going to be into it. And I was proven wrong. It's one of my it's up there for me in the pantheon of these movies. I think this movie is what I thought Guardians was going to be. A movie that's fine, but I don't know if like the casual fan of movies, not of Marvel, but of movies. I don't know if a casual fan of movies is going to be into it. Like my wife likes movies. I don't think she would be into this.
Yeah, it feels, and I think this is probably where there's going to be a decent amount of disconnect for, I would say, older MCU fans. And I don't mean older as in you've been around watching them. I mean like quite literally physically old. Like people who think, you know, we're in our 40s. They're like, these are all geared towards us. They're not. But I think this is where the disconnect is going to be, is that this is a kid's movie. Like the thing is, Ant-Man, those Ant-Man movies are comedies. Like they're as comedic as the MCU gets, right? And for the first time, you're seeing them on a really large scale. Like Ant-Man 1 and Ant-Man and the Wasp are like, they're small heist movies, and like everything is like, oh, it's just in little San Francisco. This is in a whole different, for all intents and purposes, it's in a different universe, right? Anything is possible. There's like really wild wackadoo characters and stuff like that. So it feels so much larger, but that character, like your earlier point, is like it's not an Ant-Man movie necessarily. It's this Ant-Man in a movie. And I think that's going to be a disconnect for some people. But like, I think like younger audiences, we're going to be like, yeah, no, this is really fun, because it is fun, but it definitely feels more like a kid's movie than I think maybe some people want it to be, even though these are all sort of geared towards kids anyway. But I think people often forget that. So, yeah, look, I'll go by your same grading standard, the letter grade, I'd probably give it a B-. But like, it's pretty fun. It definitely has some issues and stuff like that. It's got two very good post-credit scenes. Two very good ones. Yeah. Neither one is wasted.
So I what I'm about to say is going to sound like an insult, but it's not. This is a better version of John Carter from Mars.
That definitely sounds like an insult. That's a terrible movie.
But it's got those beats, right?
Yeah,
like,
sure.
That's what I was feeling when I was watching this, and I'm like, wow, this is kind of like John Carter, but like I'm into it. Yeah, as opposed to like John. Yeah, I wasn't into John Carter, and I think I'm into it because the principal cast is amazing.
Yeah.
All the ancillary stuff, all the Mars stuff, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's fine. It feels bog standard.
It does.
It hits beats that you know they're gonna hit. Especially if you've like watched movies before. Right. But again, I always say this: there's nothing wrong with a well-told story if it's told well. So, and I think it was told fine.
Yeah. Look, if you're going into Phase 5 thinking this is going to be the one that blows the doors off, it isn't it.
It's the one that opens the door.
It opens the door, right? It's not blowing the doors down. Perhaps that's Guardians. I don't know. I have a feeling that very well might be it, but I'm not sure. But yeah, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, B to a B-, not bad. Had a good time with it, and we'll see you guys next time.
See ya.